Welcome to A Mason's Work, the podcast where we review Masonic symbols and illustrate how they can be used to solve problems in everyday life. With your host, Brian Mattox, a proud member of the Craftsman Online Media Network.
Yesterday, we talked about a sequence of events where, and I'll give you the quick refresher, where somebody was celebrating something that they had achieved that they thought was amazing. And I had this kind of stepwise response through an initial very strong reaction, which probably was some level of, we'll get into it. And so when we walked through the reaction, it was an initial strong reaction with then a sort of a transmutation of that reaction to something like an attack. And then from there, something like a gratitude that I could use to commiserate with a colleague. This kind of stepwise kind of emotional language and intellectual language is what happens to me upon occasion. And I say to me, I think this happens to a lot of people, but I'm happy to be wrong here. This sounds like it would be amazing if no one else felt these ways. But as you're busy trying to sort of deconstruct a sequence of events like that, it's really easy to stop at the end and kind of be like, oh, well, I'm feeling gratitude now, and that's great. But what I want you to look for in a sequence of emotional responses like that is the feeling or the mental vocabulary of the word should. And you heard it yesterday in yesterday's episode. I said, I should feel grateful for what I have. It's one of the most common words in the English language and one of the least examined. We say it probably dozens of times a day without even registering it. I should get to that. I should be further along. I should be grateful for what I have. In other episodes, we've talked about this as the what if. Should sounds like a conscience. It sounds like, a moral standard of behavior or maturity. And sometimes it is, right? But there's specific versions that function differently. And once you learn to hear it, you can't unhear it. And here's how you tell them apart. A genuine should, when you say, I should do something, it's directional. It points to a behavior. It points to an action. I should call my dad. I should help clean up the park. There's a clear action, a clear relationship, an immediate next step. It has weight and direction. There's another kind of should that's kind of like a hedge or a brake against behavior. It doesn't point anywhere. It just kind of falls flat. I should be grateful for what I have. I should feel differently about this. You notice the difference? This is the one we're after. This I should feel a certain way. The full grammar of it goes like this. Every suppressing should that you say becomes this phrase. Okay, and the phrase goes like this. I should feel grateful. And here's the second word that always follows a should. But. I should feel grateful, but. And that immediately, of course, you know the answer, right? Because I'm not, but I'm not. I should feel this way, but I don't. And then from there is the rationalization process. It's a because. I should feel great, but I don't because. And this is the place where we begin the process of trying to figure out what is going on with ourselves. Every time you're presented with a series of words like this in your head or feelings of emotions, this is essentially the beginning of a process that we use to suppress ourselves, to repress our own feelings and change the way we are. Oftentimes, it sounds like an observation. It sounds like a rational thing. I should feel happy, but I don't because this is not the way, this is not for me, or this is not what's going on. Other times, it becomes something even more subversive. And we're going to get into this over the course of the next couple of episodes. This kind of thinking is an outrageously difficult thing to deprogram because it is the foundation of limiting beliefs. This kind of should script doesn't just run in your head, it gets performed. You take this should on the road. You take it to the, sitting out front of the coffee shop or sitting out with your friends when you're at the water cooler having a beer. And you publicly start to take on this kind of virtue signaling. I should feel this way. And you get the confirmation. Yes, you absolutely should feel that way, which acts as a surrogate for actually feeling that way. It doesn't really matter what happens with the emotions. What happens is the tension that we've kind of skipped over, that little bit of discomfort that we translated into an attack, then a recoil, then a translation, and then an award, right? Some sort of attention seeking or some sort of commiserating or what have you. This mechanic begins a series of processes over time that kind of build on each other. And what they really serve to do, more than anything else, is they serve to keep you stuck. So between now and tomorrow, just listen in your head for that word, should. Maybe you'll feel it as a visceral recoil. I should. You don't have to do anything with it yet. We're going to catch and work on that tomorrow. We're going to talk about this a little bit more. But once you start hearing that, once you hear how often your mind and your body responds to the word should, there is an instinct in that present moment to act. And when we lose it, we repress it and we tend to lose it forever. Let's talk about it more tomorrow.
The views represented in this podcast are those of the speaker alone and are not representative of any grand or subordinate lodge.
Hi, Brian here. I wanted to thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you have any suggestions or guidance for further episodes you'd like to see or hear, whatever the case may be, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at masonswork.com, and we will try and incorporate your suggestions into a future recording. Thanks.
Freemasonry teaches us that the true work is within, a lifelong journey of reflection, discipline, and discovery. At A Mason's Work, we help Masons bring out their best selves through meaningful self-inquiry and symbolic practice. From personal reflection to lodge engagement, we offer tools that turn symbols into action. Visit us at amasonswork.com. The work is within. The time is now.